women around the world and India and especially have always been told that we have to choose. If you are successful in your career, you can't have a happy domestic life. And if you have a happy domestic life, doesn't mean you cannot also follow your ambitions. And I think that is the narrative that needs to change. I happened to meet a guy on the train who needs someone to start this company with me and take care of everything business. And I feel like you'd be the right person for it. So would you be open to coming on as a CEO and co-founder? And I was like, what? I feel like it's something that I tell myself that I was able to wake up genuinely after like every difficult storm in my life, put myself like get up again. I feel like sometimes we forget that we've already been able to do that in the past and we'll be able to do that again.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the House of Yoga podcast presented by Yama Yoga. My name is Kavi and I have founded this podcast to have conscious conversations with inspiring leaders all around the world. Today, I'm joined by Ms. Khanak Gupta. Mm-hmm. She is the CEO and co-founder of Sohrai Beauty, which is an Indian beauty brand and full of products that I really enjoy using. I've brought her on today to have a conversation about what it's like to change the narrative for Indian women and women all around the world for doing what you really want to do. Beyond that, we're also going to be talking about the concept of karma yoga. So I'm just super happy to have you here today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Kavi. And thank you so much for hosting such a podcast because I think these conversations need to be had.
Yeah, I'm happy to have them. I think it's just conversations that I already have with people and I just want everyone else to be able to listen to them because honestly, our conversations always inspire. I think we inspire each other, but your mindset is always making me expand my way of thinking. And yeah, I was saying with Rohit, the last guest, like I just really value friendships that you lift each other up, you help each other to grow. And yeah, I'm really grateful that the audience will get to hear your perspective today too.
Very excited about
it. We start each episode with a meditation just to ground ourselves, sync each other up, and also for the audience to, feel grounded as well. So if you are in a comfortable, safe position and you're not driving, please join us in a seated meditation where you can close your eyes. You can roll your shoulders back away from your ears, hands open on your knees, palms facing upwards for receiving or down for grounding, whatever you need. Just start to notice your breath. Feel it coming in to the body. Are you able to feel your breath all the way down into your belly? Which means we're feeling relaxed, body is open. Or is it just in the chest for now? Notice how you exhale, slightly warmer air. And now we're going to do a small exercise of just counting our breath. So we're going to do 10 counts, and all you have to do is count your natural breathing. So the next inhale and exhale you take naturally without force is count number 1. The one you take after that is count number 2. Just continue the counting on your own until you get to 10. And then let's take an intentional inhale together wherever you are in your counting. Breathe in as much as you can through your nose. And a big sigh, release it out. Really let yourself settle into this moment so that you can join this conversation feeling grounded and ready to listen. Let's bring our hands together in front of our hearts and gently rub your hands together. Cup your hands over your eyes. Gently bring your hands down, bow down to your hands, feeling grateful for this day and all that has brought you here to this moment. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes with a smile on your face. Thank you for meditating together. Thank you guys for joining. How are you feeling today, Khanak?
Really good. I think that's the first time I'm on a conversation like this with someone and started with a proper meditation.
Yeah.
So it's actually really refreshing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just good because, I mean, I get nervous sometimes having conversations with inspiring people. And even though we're really good friends, like I also feel that. So doing this just helps us to ground. And I also think it's really helpful for the listeners because we're not always in a place that we're ready to listen, right? Sometimes we're just on the go. So I hope that this format of podcast is actually helping you guys too. So today, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk about changing the narrative. And both of us are somewhat black sheep within, let's say, Indian women around the world. For context, for those of you who don't know, Indian women are typically expected to get married quite young and, you know, before be very much part of the household in terms of our duties, which is still something that we do and something that I think a lot of us love to do and to nurture everyone, right? But beyond that, there's not so much capacity of thought that we can do more than that, right? And both of us are doing something radically different. And I wanted to talk about that today. So before we dive into your story, what narrative would you like other Indian women to know?
I love that we're diving right into it.
Of course.
Yes. I think that women around the world and India and especially have always been told that we have to choose. And I think that is the narrative that needs to change because I feel like I wouldn't even go on to say that, oh, women don't have to do domestic chores or women don't have to do like professional work. I feel like there's this constant chatter about us having to choose one. And I feel like it's about time that women like us, people like us change that narrative that it's not like if you are successful in your career, you can't have a happy domestic life.
Yeah.
And if you have a happy domestic life, doesn't mean you cannot also follow your ambitions, you know? And I feel like we have seen men across the world be able to juggle both.
Yeah.
And it's not like very successful men are like unmarried or like not happy, don't have kids. If they are able to juggle both, I truly believe women can too. And women have, so many women have. And I feel like it's time we start highlighting those stories more and like start not making them want to choose or have to choose rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's actually any physical limitations that we have? Because I think my brother asked me a question once, like, who do you think would last longer in the army? Would it be a girl or a guy? And I was honest about it. And I was like, a guy, because we have periods, right? Where it does slow us down per month. And, you know, it does make us emotional and not always in the best way. And I think that's a superpower as well, because we're very in tune to what we feel and what we need. And I think if anything, our periods sharpen our intuition. But do you think that limits you as a founder running your own business?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, I feel like the average lifespan of women is more than men. So we actually outlive most of them given our whole lives. So I feel like that physical limitation is already barred there, right? Because it's like somehow we have gone through our periods, our menopause, our everything, and yet we are able to somehow outlive men, surprisingly. So, but I wouldn't disagree that, of course, our bodies are having to go through a lot more in different ways. But I feel like I wouldn't even call those limitations. I would really feel like I would go on to say that it's just a difference in body and difference in this thing. But I don't think that, I also think it gives us the power. I feel like us having changing cycles, us having different sort of emotions and periods and all of this gives us, in fact, some power that I feel like maybe other people don't have. So I feel like I personally don't see that as limiting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I see it as an invitation to slow down sometimes and to respect myself even more. And I think my career also gives a lot of scope for that. But for you, you are the co-founder and CEO of Sohrai Beauty, which is a beautiful brand. And I really want people to know your story. I know that you've shared it before, but I think there are always people that haven't heard it. So would you like to just talk about how, you started this one day and the journey of the train to where you are now? Please enlighten people about the train as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I am from this city called Indore. It's in Madhya Pradesh, central India. I grew up there for like 17 years and then I went to the UK, where you're from, for my undergrad.
Yeah.
And I studied there for 3 years before going to Boston for my master's. Okay, so I studied entrepreneurship, economics, business, all of this.
Yeah.
And I then realized I always wanted to become an entrepreneur, but it didn't feel like the right moment.
Okay.
And I felt like it was better for me to work for someone else before starting my own thing, to learn how to work and to how it is to be an employee before an employer and everything, right?
Yeah.
So I got a job in America. I was fortunate to do that as an international student, but I got it and I worked there in the pharmaceutical industry for like 4 years. Learned a lot. I feel the Americans are really good at doing business and I think I got to learn from them. But I always had this urge to come back to India and to work for India in some way, and especially the Indian women. So my lifetime goal is to start a female-focused incubator in India, right? Like that's something that really helps women start and run businesses. But
for startups specifically, you mean?
Yeah. And like, startups specifically, but even say like a woman wants to start a bakery, like what is her starting point, right? Like, so something that gives her the platform to really like convert that into a proper well-functioning business is what I really want to do. And maybe in time I'll do that. But for now, and then, so anyway, so I was in Boston, I was working and I ended up going to a party with a friend. My friend was going to Harvard University and she took me to a party there and where I happened to speak to someone who told me about a train program that happens in India every year called Jagrati Yatra, where you are basically staying on the train for 15 days whilst traveling across different cities and visiting different social entrepreneurship ventures, right? So for example, the Akshay Patra Foundation, which distributes like millions of kids with food, and Choitram hospitals, which helps like eye operations for a lot of people. So like what are the social ventures going on across India? And also they give you exposure to villages and how's the village life. And then you have to come up with a business plan. There's a whole thing. And then you have to sleep on the train for 15 days. So it's a very interesting sort of a program. It's very difficult to do because you're constantly in movement, right? Like you're not, even when you're sleeping, you're moving.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. But I think, it changed my life because I happened to meet a guy on the train who basically came up to me and during the program and told me that, hey, I am actually working on a particular ingredient. I'm from a tribal village and I'm working on a particular ingredient called mahua. And I believe it has the potential to become the next shea butter. But I am a scientist. I only understand science and I'm good at it. So I need someone to start this company with me and take care of everything business. So, and I feel like you'd be the right person for it. So would you be open to coming on as a CEO and co-founder? And I was like, what? But it was in, I believe, December 2022 when our paths crossed.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow. It's a while back then.
it's a
few
long
years,
time
yeah.
back. Yeah. And then I went back to America, took some time to inhale what he just said. And then I believe 6 to 7 months later, I took that leap of faith to actually come back to India to start Sohrai with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Had you heard of mahua before? Because that's one of the main ingredients. Well, it's the main ingredient of Sohrai.
I actually hadn't. I really hadn't. I didn't know anything about the flower. I didn't know anything about the tree. I definitely didn't know anything about the butter. So, and it's really sad because mahua is very, very prevalent in the state that I come from, which is Madhya Pradesh.
Right.
It's very heavy in that state. But
How cool that you're representing the whole state. Like, of course, the country, but like specifically the state you're from. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, like mahua actually is grown in many states, but like especially the central belt.
Right.
It has many trees, but it took me a worldwide tour and a boy from a tribal village to tell me about something that was existing around me all along.
Yeah. It's funny that, isn't
Yeah.
it? Things are right under your nose. And does it grow in other countries or is it just in India?
No, it's just in India. So it's
That's
an Indian
amazing.
ingredient.
That's so
yes.
special because
Yes.
obviously like we have Ayurveda for years and there's so many different ingredients, but having an ingredient that just is grown in India and it does miracles for your skin.
Yes, it really does.
I love using your miracle oil serum every morning, the facial oil.
Yes.
And the glossy lip butter as well. It's my favorite thing, you know it.
Yes.
I can't stop raving about it. And that's genuine. I think even if we weren't friends, which I can't imagine a world where we're not, I would still be using it. We've actually got some of the products here today. And would you like to show our audience a little bit about it and show it and talk a little bit about the product?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can do that.
We have it here.
So this is the Mahua Miracle Oil, which is one of our best sellers. It has Mahua oil, which is very rich in antioxidants, so helps with like skin hydration, anti-aging benefits, all of that good stuff. Mixed with rosehip oil, saffron oil, apricot kernel oil, argan, jojoba. It's like a mix of like multiple really pure good oils. And it's basically like this ritual that we want to imbibe from the forests and the tribes of India that sort of just takes you to this feeling of presence, nature, closeness, taking care of yourself, all of it at once. And just apply it and sleep off. Like you don't need chemical heavy creams at night. You can just use it and be connected to nature, to India, to the forest all at once.
Yeah. I really love it. For me, it's a ritual and I pair it with doing some face yoga. And what I really like is that I have extremely dry skin. It hydrates it, but it doesn't leave me oily. And I think a lot of oils, they just sit on the surface, but this soaks in such a nice way that still gives you a glow. I actually use it in the morning.
Yeah.
For me, that's the best time. And then I put my sunscreen because obviously it's an oil.
Yeah.
But I really, really like it. So thank you so much for making such a good product that
Yay.
hopefully stays in my life.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah. In terms of entrepreneurship, like one word you said was social entrepreneurship, right? And that kind of ties into the concept of karma yoga, which let's just talk about. It's about giving to the world, giving to the greater good, like you said, without the expectation of an outcome or anything else coming to us, right? And I think for me, you are one of the only entrepreneurs that I know like closely who has made this a huge priority. You organized a cleanup drive on Carter Road here in Mumbai. And for those who don't know, Mumbai is extremely polluted, sadly. We love the city. We really, really love the city. But there is a lot of litter because it's not yet the most important thing for for the citizens here and for the government here yet. But you organize a cleanup drive, and we spent a few hours in the morning on a Sunday cleaning the streets. And it was sad for us, right? Just seeing how much litter there was. I think it's also lack of awareness that it's, you know, we shouldn't be doing that to the swamps and the sea. So that's one thing that you're doing. I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about the mentoring that you do. And you also do a lot of NGO work. What does Karma Yoga mean to you, and why do you do it in the first place?
I think I have always been driven by social causes, right? Like, I think that is what moves me as a person, things to stand up for. I personally don't know how I would do business if I didn't have anything greater to do it for.
Yeah.
Or like a greater meaning in it, right? And again, what I think I said for women, it's like they're always told to choose. And I think similarly in business, we're told to choose that we're either a cutthroat, successful entrepreneur, or we are a philanthropist, like kind of giving person who's doing NGO work. But I truly believe that, again, is a very, very limiting narrative. And I don't know how I'm circling back to that word limiting again and again, but I again think that it's true. These are all limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
So I was actually in college in the UK when I came across this concept of humanistic capitalism by one of the most celebrated Italian designers, Brunello Cucinelli. And the whole concept that he talks about is that even if you want to run a profitable company, you can do it whilst taking care of your workers, taking care of the environment you're working for. So I believe like the Italian town that they work with, he really works with the development around there.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're a very, very expensive luxury brand, and yet they are sort of like taking care of these other things as well, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say is that I am not on the other side of business where it's like, I don't care about the profit margins, or I don't care about it being a successful business. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that I have to choose, right?
Yeah.
I care about my business. I care about my margins. I care about all of that. But at the same time, I care about the environment. I care about the impact that my business could have for the communities that source these ingredients and things like that, right? I encourage entrepreneurs to think that way because I think that you really don't have to choose. And I feel like, especially given the country that we come from, which is India, there is a lot of need for people to think beyond just themselves and their ventures and really look out for the communities that they're impacting.
Yeah.
And think about what is it that you as an entrepreneur, as a brand, could do to be the face, the voice of something larger than themselves, you know? It's high time we go in that direction.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you're setting the best example for it. So
Thank you.
Really excited to see what you continue to do. I hope there'll be another cleanup drive soon or whatever else you're organizing for the community to get involved in as well. I have a couple questions for you. We mentioned a lot about limiting beliefs. Do you have any?
I think that I would be lying if I say that the society doesn't impact my thought as well, right? Like, rather, it is a lot of social conditioning about how women should be, what should happen by certain ages, how we should behave, how we should talk, what milestones should be completed by certain timelines, right? So I feel like, and I think those convert into limiting beliefs, which is like social conditioning mixed with what you think you could do. So I feel like I'm definitely fighting that within myself, which is like, it is okay to carve your own path. It is okay to have your own timelines. It's okay to behave or say, as in sort of things that are like maybe even this conversation that we're having, right? Like we're talking about some unconventional stuff. So it's okay to do that. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's kind of letting go of that fear about what society thinks and letting yourself have your own divine timing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the timing of everything that I'm trying to. There are too many timelines that we put on ourselves over here, especially here.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and the fact is that it never stops. So it's like by 25, you need to do this. By 30, you have to do this. By 35, you need to do that. So I thought there's an end to the cycle. Oh, when I'll achieve this, at least that'll be done. But what I realized is, or what people around me told me, is that actually it never stops. And it's just within you, these conversations that you can have to be okay with those expectations. To be okay as in like to accept that it's okay that people will say whatever, but you still have to, it's your life and you have to sort of
write your own story.
Write your own destiny.
Yeah. And do you know what I realized throughout this conversation is that I think part of this is actually just people retelling the story that they've been told. And it's because they don't know any other way. So they're just projecting onto us how they have been expected to live. So for them, they were expected to be married by this age and do this by this age and this and this. And that gives them a comfort, right? To see you or me or anyone else do the same thing, because that's what has kept them safe. So I have understanding for people having that mindset, but I think we're really lucky to be part of a generation of possibilities and opportunities that are equal for men and women, becoming equal, more equal. So it's an exciting, stage to be in. And I think also, like I said, the city of Mumbai really allows us to create and be ourselves and put ourselves out there.
What are the limiting beliefs that you have as a girl navigating her life in India from Britain?
That's interesting. I think I always, because I never knew any Hindi before coming here. Like I did grow up in an Indian Hindu family, and a lot of the values have been translated down because my family left India in like 1950s. So it's kind of frozen in time in the way. I think a lot of UK Indian families will relate to this. Like it's very like conservative in some senses. And it's really beautiful, a lot of the values I grew up with. My parents are very open-minded and have allowed me to have this life. But coming back to that point, like I didn't really grow up with Hindi. My family is Gujarati. I did hear it from my grandparents, but I didn't speak it within my home. And so I think I always tell myself that I speak it really badly, and I never try to speak it with anyone apart from like when I'm asking for help about something. So I think I would just like to speak to myself a bit more kindly, like even if it doesn't sound perfect and it's heavily accented, it's fine. So that's like a very specific example.
Yeah.
But I think the main point is just feeling okay with looking stupid. I think that's my biggest insecurity. Like I always want the final thing to look perfect. And like sometimes I just don't talk to myself in the nicest way. So having more acceptance over that. And I think that would translate into a lot of my parts of my life in a nicer way as well. Yeah, thanks for the question.
No, it makes sense. Yeah,
nice.
That's like so true. I think because it's like, I especially wanted to ask you that because I feel like you have done so much self-work within yourself to, get where you're at mentally and spiritually. But I feel like, I think it's important for your audience also to know that you yourself are also struggling with some limiting beliefs, because it's like, we just feel like enlightened people don't do it, don't have any fears. You know what I mean?
I get that. And I think also when you're put in a public eye, like people really think that, but no.
Yeah, for sure.
We each have perfect imperfections. And I also think that a lot of like spiritual healers, we are born from these hard moments or things we don't like in ourselves or traumas. So that is definitely a misconception that enlightened people are perfect. Absolutely not. And I've seen firsthand other people as well. None of us are completely healed. That's a great question. I wanted to talk to you then about the audacity mindset and how do you get into rooms that you really want to be in? Because there are other people here, I'm sure they're watching and they're inspired by you. They want to do their own thing too. How do you get to these places that you really want to be in?
I would say by being over-prepared.
Okay.
I think that a lot of people give this advice that just wing it, just do it, just do this. But I feel the way I think about things is that I would say a girl that looks fairly young, an Indian girl walking into rooms, talking to men who are very established, much older than me, much bigger than me. And I feel like the only way to enter those rooms and make space for yourself is to be over-prepared and to know what you're talking about, to create that sense of trust by them for you, that they want to talk to you, they want to hear you, that they let that space come in, and I think I wish the world wasn't like this. I wish I could just be confident, but I genuinely feel the fact of the matter is that we have to prepare a little bit about what we are going into that room for, what is the agenda, what is it that we want out of that meeting, and really have that alignment. And then I feel like we can just communicate that a little bit more. And I feel like, because I just see a lot of advice around the internet not talking about it, not talking about the fact that women have to prepare a little bit more.
Yeah.
I actually heard a TED talk about this whole thing where it's like, we want to get in a place where the rooms are equal for men and women, where conversations are equal, where there's the same platform. But till getting there, I feel if us women entrepreneurs need to know what we are talking about, I think that is eventually going to let that space happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope I'm trying to communicate what I'm trying to say,
I'm reading a book, and one thing it said is that we should be able to share our point and our explanation with a child, so that it's so clear, the points are so clear and concise that even a child can understand it. And I feel like what you're saying with the over preparation is to get to that point where we can communicate so clearly and with so much ease that anyone can understand exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And obviously a kid and being in a meeting room is very different, but
No, I know what you're trying to say.
yeah.
I think I know what you are trying to say, but I think what I'm trying to say is something a little different, Kavi, which is, for example, I'm in a meeting room. It's a board meeting, and it is about how big the market size is, for example.
Yeah.
I got to know my numbers well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think there are many entrepreneurs, and a lot of times people can be without it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for us to create that respect for ourselves, we have to spend those few extra hours right now, because people just do not take us seriously otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
I feel like it's accepted by some people to be like,
I need to figure it out.
I'm going to figure it out. And that'll be forgiven and that'll be accepted. And they might even get funded after that. But I feel as like a young girl, that's not the advice I want to give to young girls.
Yeah.
Because I have been in rooms and I feel like the only way to get where we want to get is to try to know what we're talking about.
So that's actually when we're in the room.
Okay.
And what about getting into the room? Because for me, I think the audacity mindset, it started from the audacity mindset. And I don't think it will always be like that, because first I need to put myself out there. And for me, I know you said about this advice of just be confident. That's not practically enough. But I think for me, it's that self-belief that actually, yes, I deserve to be in that room. And for that to happen, you have to put yourself out there. You have to reach out to the people that you really want to be working with or be in contact with, right? So that audacity needs to happen initially. And then I think paired with what you're saying about being over-prepared, I think that's a really nice combo. Is there anything you'd add to that?
You're so right, actually. I think the audacity that you, like, you know how you always say that you deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And even telling ourselves that we deserve to be there and internalizing it is so hard. And in fact, you have helped me so many times with other areas in my life as well, that I deserve certain things. And I feel that that's always helped me. And I feel like, I think to answer that question now, what I would say is that the worst that can happen is that they'll say no.
Yeah.
And I think like if ever, like I'm sending a cold email to a really, really cool entrepreneur or like an investor or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like just the idea that the worst that'll happen is that they'll say no. It's such a simple belief. And I know this is some advice that probably people have heard 100 times, but I don't think we follow it much because we really feel like the world is going to fall apart if that doesn't work out. But the fact is that what is going to happen? They'll just say no.
Yeah.
But you gave it your shot. And if anything, they will value you for just even having the audacity to try to knock that door.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's knocking the door because maybe one day in the future it opens with that same person, but you've put yourself out there, you put your name out there. And I think I've been doing that too, like reaching out to a few people that I'm inspired by. It's fun. I think if we see it as fun as well, and that we're just trying and the whole process is fun, the detachment occurs, right?
Exactly. I think like when, in fact, you had mentioned the topic of karma yoga to me, I was very curious about because I think I never understood the terminology very well.
Yeah.
And I went on to look at it and it said that to focus on the practice of doing something without focusing too much on the outcome. I think that's also like a big core of what the whole Bhagavad Gita, many verses are about actually, right? Focusing on what you're doing and not the outcome. And I feel like stop for a second and actually not just focus on my current journey, but rather actually enjoy what I'm building whilst I'm building it and not after I've built it.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like I know I'm just 1 year into my brand,
Look where you are.
But I feel like I really want to enjoy these early years and not always wait for that outcome or that validation, you know?
I think that touches me because a month ago, I think it was very different, your perspective. And we spoke about it last night, like the April intention. We're at the start of a new month. And your intention, you told me, was to enjoy it. And so I'm really glad that's going to be translating into your work as well, because it's your baby.
Yeah.
And it's not even a baby. It's doing so well. And it's making so many other people happy because we really enjoy the products. But you equally should be enjoying, you know, the whole journey.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad to hear that you're going to be approaching it with that. I think, though, it's very normal. A lot of us, me included, we always want to feel happy when we get to that thing or when we have that number, whatever. But already we have the blessing to wake up every day and enjoy the life that we've been blessed with. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, so true.
Yeah. Okay. So one last thing that I want to talk about, how do you deal with change?
I think the one thing that has helped me is the fact that I have gone through a lot of change in the countries that I've lived in, the jobs, you know, so I feel like anyway we've had that. But I think I keep coming back to this particular thing I had read, I don't know where, but like how like stagnant water stales, like, you know, like something about like how anything for a long time will go bad, right? So I feel like there has to be movement. It has to be like running water. So I feel like just accepting that we have to be moving or things have to be changing for them to be alive, right?
Yeah.
And also the fact that it's also okay for some things to die.
Yeah.
It's like part of nature.
Yeah.
I love taking care of plants, as you know. And I feel like they just teach you so much. Like, for example, like just potting plants has taught me few simple things that I'd like to share, which is like, one, you do not overwater them. So I don't think you have to care for something too much. Second, you have to weed out the bad leaves, right? Or the old leaves or whatever. So, and third, that you have to nourish them with sunlight and positivity and things like that. So why I'm coming to this is because I feel like even just a plant is constantly changing and you have to also dying and things are like rebirthing and things like that. I think it's just a part of nature that I think we have to imbibe, and I think be close to nature also to understand it. I don't know how and why I feel that way, but I feel like nature is constantly changing, and I think being around it helps us center ourselves in times of change.
Yeah, that's a beautiful reminder. And I really love that. I'm not very good at looking after plants, as you know, but I like that mindset. And I think it will be something I take forward, not only for physically looking after the plants, but myself too. And Khanak, I wanted to come back to nature a little bit. The outfit that you're wearing looks really, really stunning on you. And it's actually made of some tree fibers. Lensing is part of the kit that you're wearing. It's by Yama Yoga, who have kindly worked with us on this episode and this podcast. How are you liking it so far? Because you look stunning in it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think I don't know. I don't think I've worn clothes, or rather like, I don't know, that look so good, feel so good, so airy. I'm not even like making it up. It's actually so comfortable. I'm going to recommend all my friends. Because again, there's this whole thing about aloe yoga or like Lululemon or whatever, like yoga centric athletic wear, right? Sort of taking over the whole world. Whereas I think we are the origins of this whole thing. And I feel like I'm so happy Yama is doing this, because I feel like this is actually brilliant fabric and the fit is amazing. And now that you tell me it's also from a tree is making me love it even more.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. It really looks great on you. And
thank you.
Yeah, it's a brand that means a lot to me. So I'm just happy to see my friends enjoy it too. So as you know, I use your products, and the miracle oil is a part of my skincare routine. And I really, really love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up?
No, I think thank you so much, Kavi, for having me. And thank you for being such an inspiration and encouraging conversations like these. Like I said, I think they're really, really needed.
Yeah.
And thank you for mixing spirituality, presence, meditation with topics like business, entrepreneurship, all of that. Because I think that how this conversation has been all about, you don't have to choose one path. You really are an example of someone who's not choosing one path. And thank you for bringing these conversations to the world.
So sweet. It's really my pleasure. So thanks so much for saying that. I want to end the episode with one thing. One thing that you want to tell Khanak in the future. Because I know there's going to be times where you're like, I just need to pick me up. What would you tell her when she needs that?
You were able to like wake up after every single tough night. So like you will be able to do it too again. I feel like it's something that I tell myself, that I was able to wake up genuinely after like every difficult storm in my life.
Yeah.
Put myself like, get up again. I feel like sometimes we forget that we've already been able to do that in the past, and we'll be able to do that again. You know?
Yeah. It's a similar quote. Like, you've survived 100% of your worst days.
Yes, basically. 100%. I don't know, like I just always feel like, the night and the day thing comes to me, because I feel like there've definitely been instances in my life where I felt like, gosh, I don't know how I'll survive the next day or how I'll do the next day. There've just been tough times, like we all have.
Yeah.
But we have. So something to remember.
You're going to do it again. You got this. I believe in you 100%. I'm really, really grateful and happy to know you. I'm so excited for what's coming your way. I think it's way bigger than you can imagine.
Aww.
Thank you,
Kavi.
Always. Thank you so much for being here, gracing us with your time and all your insights. It's been lovely having you as a guest. And thank you guys so much for listening to the House of Yoga podcast. If you want to connect with Khanak, I'll leave her links in the description, as well as the website for Sohrai Beauty. You should definitely try out their products. And that's not a shameless plug. It's genuinely really, really a good brand with values that are also really lovely. So thank you guys so much for being here, for listening. I'll see you next Thursday for another episode. Thank you so much.